night, everybody. How's everybody doing? I am here to talk to you about your golf swing and your golf game. I got to make a promise before we get started here, and I have a chat opened up so I can discuss and have a conversation with many of you joining tonight. But my promise to you tonight is two very important things. One, I'm going to show you the absolute easiest way to hit a golf ball, the best way that you can possibly play the game of golf. And number two is that I'm going to show you the most efficient, fastest way to learn it. Those are the two promises I'm making to you tonight. And if you bear with me and you go through this, I want you to make a commitment to me before we get started. And the commitment is nothing more than this. I want you to give what I teach you tonight a shot, because I know that if you go through what I'm going to talk about tonight and actually do it correctly, you will improve and have the same experience I've had. My name is Todd Graves. Some of you who don't know me, I'd like to get in the chat. If you will do me a quick favor, I'd like to kind of know how many new people do we have tonight in the chat that are brand new to seeing me present the single plane swing or present from Graves Golf. How many new tonight? Put a number 1 in the chat if you're brand new to this. I want to see some new faces in here. But here's what I want to talk about. And many of you are in this chat because you're showing up to tonight's show because you want to improve your golf game. You want to hit the golf ball better. You want to play better golf, obviously shoot lower scores, and have more fun playing the game. That is my mission, to help you do that. I was in the same boat many years ago, struggling with my own game. And in doing so, I was playing professional golf, but I was struggling. I was overseas trying to make a living playing the game. And I basically returned from the Asian Tour in 1991, and I was not where my game wanted to be. So what I did is I said, strategically, I'm going to go work with the best instructors that the game has to offer. And I did this in 1991. I started working with the best instructors that I could find in the world, that were working with all the guys that were really great players, tour players, and the best amateur players. And in 3 years, from 1991 to the end of 1993, I actually got worse. So what they were teaching me, I couldn't figure out. It was too complicated, too difficult, and very confusing for me to learn what they were teaching me. And I was this close, and maybe some of you have felt this before, I was this close to quitting the game. I was frustrated, wasn't playing well, obviously couldn't make any money playing, and was getting worse. And then I got very, very lucky. And I want to show you, though, before we get going too far tonight, I want to show you a video that convinced me how difficult the golf swing really was. And I'll show you the answer to the problem, the solution for it, and then we'll go through how I can help you learn it. But look at this video for just a minute. I want to show you this video. And this is a video of Seve Ballesteros. And the thing about Seve Ballesteros, when I look at this, I loved watching Seve play when I was younger. He was one of my favorite players to watch play. And when I would watch him play, it was exciting, but he hit it everywhere, right? I mean, everybody knows kind of Seve was the best scrambler in golf. But watch what happens. Watch this from a swing mechanic standpoint, all right? Watch this. So, and this was very convincing to me. You can see the yellow line here at address. This is, his hands are hanging straight down. You can kind of see his hands are hanging down on one plane. I'll draw another line here. So you see the hands hanging down on one plane and the club shaft on a secondary plane. But I want to show you something here when he takes the club back. So we'll go into the backswing. And you're going to see him take it all the way back, and then he's going to come down. And now I want to draw another line on the club shaft, and you'll notice that that club is now on a higher position, a higher plane. That is a natural motion of the body impacting and going to that position. So he starts on a low plane, impacts on a high plane. So I saw this, and I was like, okay, and when conventional golf was teaching me to hang my arms low. How many of you have had instruction before where the instructors were teaching you just hang the arms straight down? And you see it every day on the tour. And this is what is taught mostly in conventional golf, hang your arms straight down. Well, I'll show you another video. And this is probably somebody you're even more familiar with, Ricky Fowler. So this is Ricky. Ricky's obviously playing out there today. And again, you see the same setup here. You see the hands hanging down on one plane, maybe even a little lower than Seve has it, and the arms hanging down. And then watch what Ricky goes to impact here. And you can see again, Another good example of how that club is lifting itself. So what this is showing is there is actually a natural position the club wants to impact on. You're basically taking this club and you're swinging, there's mass on the end of the club, and you're swinging the club around the body, and it's going to return to impact. So there's a natural motion of the club around the body, and there's a natural position the club wants to be at impact, and it's showing up right here. And this is what was so convincing to me. Look at this, where this club is impacting with the body. I'll do a circle on this. Notice how the club is impacting right through this middle of the back area. So no matter who I would draw this line on, whether it was Sevi or Ricky or any player, it kept, no matter where they started their hands, they're impacting higher. And so you have to ask the question, why are we taught to hang the arms way down like this when we're always going to impact higher, when the natural motion is higher? And the consequence is this. If you look at Ricky here, watch his lower body when he does this. Watch how the lower body lifts. See how his body lifts? See the stress in the back? So this is why golfers are having back pain. This is why the jump of the body trying to get to impact. And I'll go back to Sevi for a minute and watch this. There's another video here I want to show you. So again, that's the down the line angle of the plane of the club. So starting on a low plane, impacting on a high plane. But this is Sevi from a face-on view. So this is the other perspective. Watch what happens to Sevi from address. I'll draw another line again so a little more visible here. So this would be considered his side bend or his side tilt. And watch when Sevi takes the club back, he increases the side tilt. And watch when he comes down, notice how he leans back. See how he's leaning back on the side tilt. So in other words, he's starting like this with his hands low. He's taking the club back and he's impacting very high like this. So he's leaning and lifting, right? Leaning and lifting. Well, you know, I saw this going on, and I was wondering why. There's got to be an easier way, and why is this so difficult? And then I met this guy in MoeMentum, and I want to show you this swing here. And so the minute I see Mo hitting a golf ball, what do you think the first thing I did was I drew a line. Now, if you ladies and you guys don't know who MoeMentum is, MoeMentum was regarded as the greatest ball striker in the world. Back when I was struggling with my game, I didn't know Mo in person, but I had heard about him. I had heard that there's this guy in Canada that's known as the greatest ball striker in the world. Ken Venturi, Lee Trevino, Vijay Singh, all these great players would say, no one hits the ball as great as MoeMentum. Even Ben Hogan said it. And then I was introduced to him, and I checked his swing out. And look at this. Look where that club is aligning now. It's lining up with the arms at address. So in other words, he's putting the club in an alignment with the arms. I'll do that little circle again so you can see it. Right through that middle of the back. Now watch this. He takes the club back and then down and impacts on the exact same plane. So, and look at how he returns the club now. He's starting and impacting. I'll let that play one more time so you can see it. He's starting and impacting on the exact same plane. And so you have to put two and two together here. The greatest ball striker in the world isn't starting his hands low. He's starting with the club on the impact plane. And you have to say to yourself, that just makes common sense, right? So I was lucky enough to get introduced to MoeMentum and befriended him, and spent 10 years playing golf with him, practicing with him, getting to know him really well, and learning his golf swing so that I could now get on the mission to help as many people in this world learn an easier way to play golf, because this is the absolute easiest way to use the body to take this golf club, hit that golf ball with this stick. And that's what I want to explain to you tonight. I wanted to show you these videos because I wanted to show you the common sense of what you're seeing on those videos. What was interesting though is I used to go to do shows. Like I did a show in Toronto all the time. I did a lot of shows where I'd present Mo's golf swing. And I would always present, just like I'm kind of presenting to you tonight, how the conventional golfers are hanging their arms down here, hanging them straight down. And there's no logical reason to hang your arms down. That's why you see so many variations of it on tour. Some guys are lower than others. There's guys like Bryson DeChambeau, very close to a single plane. Steve Stricker, and other players out there that are very close to starting and impacting on the same plane, which is fantastic. But why not make this simple and show the logic behind it? But there's also a lot of science behind it and common sense. So I want to show you exactly what goes on with Moe Norman's golf swing, what he actually figured out. What did he actually discover? And by the way, I call his swing a discovery because all he figured out was he discovered what the easiest way to use this body is to hit the golf ball. So you see a couple of things that are very important in that video. Obviously, the single plane, right? You see the single plane address. But the other most important thing you see is that he's setting up with some alignments. He's got this alignment of the lead arm, because that's where it's going to be at impact. He has the alignment of the trail arm, because that's where it's going to be at impact. He puts his body in a position to make the least amount of motion from here to here to here to impact. So what Moe figured out, and he explained to me many times, is my golf swing has the least amount of movement in its parts. In other words, this hand works non-rotationally. This lead hand, when it's on the golf club, is neutral and facing the target. This hand moves as little as it needs to move, and it's the most efficient way to move the hand back and square a club face. This hand's moving back and down in a straight line. And so let me demonstrate that for you. And I'll do a couple things I want to demonstrate as I show you this. And this is where it gets into a little bit of the logic. If I ask you this question and I said, okay, there's a couple things we need to accomplish in the golf swing. One, we got to get the club to impact. We also have to have a square club face. So I want you to participate with me for just a minute, because I like to get you guys kind of thinking about this stuff, the logic behind what you're seeing Moe do in that video. I want you to we're going to talk about how the body is designed, because Moe discovered the most efficient way to use the body. And I'm going to show you this, so do this with me. So I want you to stand up. If you're sitting in a chair, you can do this as well, but I need you to stand up. And I need you to tilt. If you're right-handed, you'll tilt away from the target, so you'll tilt to the right. So I'm swinging that direction, so I'm tilting away from the target. Now, I want you to put your arm in front of your body. This is called flexion. Put your arm in front of your body. And you're going to see you have so much rotation of the arm. So if you're standing straight up, you'll notice you have all this rotation. The minute you go into a slight tilt, you'll notice it starts limiting how much my arm rotates. Now, let's watch what Moe did in the backswing. So here's what happened. When Moe does this, when he goes like this in the backswing, his arm goes into a rotation, internal rotation. Notice when he comes down like this arm is staying internally rotated. If I keep this arm internally rotated, watch this. So I'm in my downswing, in my tilt. When I rotate my club, my hand can only go to square. It can only go that far. So in other words, because I'm in the proper positions, and this is a very important word tonight, is positions. When I'm in the proper positions, the club has to square. It's as far as it'll go. This is what we call full range of motion. What Moe discovered was, if I put my body in the correct positions, I can't help but square a club face and hit it perfect. Positions. And he used to tell me this constantly when we practice: hit the positions, have the proper tilt, have the proper position of the arm, inflection, and you can only go to square. So that's biomechanics, because if you do this, if you're coming down and you come out of your tilt, I can rotate the arm and go past square. So this is what we're calling is range of motion and full range, and Moe figured out if I put myself in certain positions, the natural design of my body strikes a golf ball. Now I'll show you what he did with the trail hand. I'm going to use this hammer as a demonstration. This is the lead hand. It's going to the target because of my tilt and my lead arm position. Look at the trail hand. It's in an underneath position. Conventional golf would call this strong. I don't call it strong. It's actually non-rotational. This trail hand is actually in a non-rotational position, just like that hammer and nail. So look, now I got my lead arm correct. There's that alignment. I got my trail hand in a non-rotational hammering position. And look, it's lined up with my trail arm like a hammer. See that? I'm going to hammer a nail. So now, this is the most efficient way to strike that object, because the lead hand is going to square and the trail hand is going to hammer. See that? Now, look at that motion right there. It's a hammering motion with my right arm and a squaring motion with my left arm. That is the most efficient way that I can take a golf club, move it back, and move it down. Now watch this. So that's very important because now we're squaring the club face and we're getting the impact every time. But look at this. Notice, you see the plane of that hammer? Look at the plane of the hammer. I'm going to take it back, same plane. I'm going to bring it down, right back to the same plane. This is exactly what you see in that video of Mo. He's taking that 7-iron, taking it back like a long hammer, bringing it right back down to that plane. So this is exactly what Mo figured out. How do you take this club and make it a long hammer? Because now, with the things I just showed you, you now have a golf club that's lined up correctly, and your body now is moving the most efficient way possible to take it back and bring it right back down to impact to square the club face every single time. Now, you're probably asking the question, okay, Todd, I totally get how the lead hand works. I totally get how the trail hand works. I totally get that you got the club on plane, you're getting back to impact. What's going on with the body? Most of speed comes from what the hands and arms are doing during the swing motion. The body becomes a stabilizer, and the great thing about the single plane swing, and what you see in Mo's position there, is he's using the body the most efficient way possible. Watch what I do with my lower body now. It's important to stabilize. We call this stability, or creating a braking system. The lower body has to support the speed of the upper body. So when I take a backswing, I brace around my trail leg. Then in the downswing, I brace into the lead knee, I brace on the lead leg, and then I rotate my upper body and swing my arms. Now, the key here is that, remember how we had this range of motion with the lead arm where this is the only place it can go to square? The same exact thing is happening with lower body. If I do a couple of things that Mo is doing, 1, lead knee stable, 2, trail foot in the ground, and guess what? I now have a perfectly limited range of motion with my lower body, which allows me to get to where? Impact the same way every single time. So one of the things that was very important to me when I learned with Mo is I took nothing that he did for granted. If Mo had a position in his swing, I matched it. And let me give you just a quick piece of advice, because some of you are probably maybe going to try the single plane swing for the first time. When I was learning Mo's swing and trying it for the first time myself, there's one thing that I cared about: matching the positions that Mo was in. That's all I cared about. Because I knew that if I could match what he was positioning, I could feel what he was doing, and I could actually get the results. But I didn't care about the results that much. I only cared about positions. And that's why I became really, really good at hitting a golf ball, because I was matching exactly what he was doing. Now, that is really the single plane swing. And let me hear in the chat there, how many people is this brand new? The first time you've ever seen me demonstrate a little bit about the single plane swing? Give me a 1. That's the first time you've seen that demonstrated. Now, it's one thing to actually know, hey, I want to commit, I want to learn the single plane swing. I want to learn an easier way to hit a golf ball. And it all makes so much sense. And hopefully all that stuff makes sense to you. I'm just showing you how you're already designed to hit a golf ball. You have to put yourself in the correct positions. So now that you know that, the question you should be asking is, Todd, what's the fastest possible way to learn this? What's the easiest way to learn this? Now, before I go into this next part, I want to tell you this. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been teaching this golf swing for 30 years. And what I'm going to show you on this board is the absolute most efficient way to learn it. But I see people try to shortcut this process all the time. I'm going to show you the perfect formula for learning the single plane swing. And if you follow this, you will then learn it yourself in the fastest way possible. And I do not know a faster way than what I'm going to show you right now. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. The very first thing that you must absolutely learn is the address and grip, the body position, address, and then the grip position. Address, then grip. So address, then grip. Now, notice I said address, then grip, because this is related to positions, not just how many people. Give me a 1 in the chat if you learn to grip the club first. If you were taught, hey, I want you to grip the club and then learn how to play golf. That's what conventional golf is always. They screw this up because they want your hands on the club. And then you got to orient your body to your hands. That's not what Mo figured out. Mo figured out that if I put my body in the position of impact, then I put my hands on, it makes so much more sense. This hand is where it wants to be, and this hand where it wants to be. Address and then grip. So that's the first thing. 2, once you learn the address and grip, you must absolutely learn the positions the body must go into. I'm going to go positions up here. Positions. Now, what I mean by positions are we have specific checkpoints that we talk about in the swing that we want you to learn. When you learn the positions, there's actually 6 of them, 1 through 6. There's 6 positions, and here's why you want to learn positions, and this is very important. The positions are nothing more than what we call the motion or metrics of the body, which means, for example, when I go into the backswing, notice I'm turning my body, but my head is still. Notice I'm turning my body, but my leg is stable. Notice I'm turning my body, and it only goes so far, right? I have a bend of my body and a tilt. When you learn positions of the body, it's based on parameters like head still, leg braced, foot position, certain things. If you cannot hit those positions because you haven't learned them, then you can't go on to the next thing, which is sequence. So does this make sense? Because look, this is where most people go wrong. If you cannot just do this in slow motion, position by position by position, and I can show you the positions, they look like this. You're going to say they look really simple, but this is position 1, 2, 3, 4, impact, 5, and then 6. That's all you got to do is learn to hit those positions. Every one of you that's watching this show tonight can learn to hit those 6 positions. Every one of you. You might not be able to do them right now. It might take you a little while to learn it perfectly because you got to keep your head still and your leg braced, and you got to learn it. You got to learn to rotate and all that. You got to train it, right? Every one of you can do that. However, if you can't, then you don't want to be putting that into motion yet. And here's what you don't want to do. You certainly don't want to go try to add a bunch of speed to your body when you don't know the positions, because you won't be able to do it very well. Now, that's my formula. Watch this. This is a very important part of tonight's show. Watch this. I'm going to teach you the address and the grip, how to set up to a golf ball perfectly. Put your body in position. 2, I'm going to teach you every single position I want you in, and I'm going to teach you how to do every position perfectly. Then I'm going to blend those positions together, blend them together, right? Then I'm going to let you add some speed to it. Notice this formula is the exact same formula that if you were going to learn to do anything, play the piano, play an instrument, what are you going to learn? How to position your hands on the instrument, sit to the piano, where are the notes, where are the keys? Now, how do I put the keys together and make the notes in a sequence to make music? If I was going to teach you how to dance, you learn step 1, step 2, step 3. This is the formula for learning. But let me ask you a question. I'll bet you 100% that those of you who haven't seen me talk about this before, you learned like this. You learned exactly backwards. What you did, same thing I did, same thing everybody in this room did, probably everybody on this chat did, is you grabbed a golf club and you went right to the range or to the golf course and started swinging, didn't you? Swinging and try to figure it out. Try to swing this golf club and hit the thing on the ground. You were sequencing and putting your body into sequence and speed before you even knew how to stand to a golf ball. Close, far, tilt, no tilt, high, low. You had hands low, no idea, right? Trying to figure out, and that's where you are right now. You're here tonight because no one ever taught you exactly where you needed to go. I'm going to reverse that. We're going to stop doing this in the incorrect order, because the formula that you see on this board right now is not only the formula that I use to teach people that are brand new. Those of you who are brand new tonight, that's the formula I use. This is the exact same formula I use to teach the tour players I teach. This is the exact same formula I practiced for the last 3 days. I've been on the range every afternoon hitting some golf balls. Guess what? I used this exact formula, because here's what I did. I went and checked what? I checked my address and grip. I'd have some checkpoints. I checked the positions of my swing. Then I hit some golf balls, checking my positions, and then I added some speed, right? And I'm advanced, right? I'm mostly checking a few positions, and I work on sequence and speed. But if I have a problem, let's say I'm not hitting it well, what do? I go back and look at my positions. I grabbed one of my coaches yesterday, Matthew, one of our coaches, and I grabbed him and I said, hey, come over here and watch me hit some and look at my backswing position, and he checked it out. So this is your formula, and by the way, what I'm teaching you right now, if you do this, I will promise you this will be the last time you ever need a golf lesson. You don't need lessons anymore. You need to just learn the positions, stay in this formula, and use this for the rest of your life to keep working towards an efficient system and model. Because this right here is the model. And it's all based on the easiest golf swing that's ever been discovered, which MoeMentum figured out. So that's the formula. Now, for the last, how many years? 2.5 years now?
Almost 3.
For the last almost 3 years, I've been teaching this now for many years, but 3 years ago, we decided to take this exact information, this exact process, and put it into the most effective, efficient online course we can put it into. And we created a single plane 30 course, 30 days of training. Here's the thing about it. I didn't say 7 days. I didn't say 10 days. I didn't say, 14 days. I needed a window of time to get you through this 1 week at a time so you could absorb it and learn it correctly. It's very important that you do it in the correct order. So I put a 30-day program together. This course is about getting your swing to a perfect impact position. And we're going to do it in 30 days. We've had, how many people have been through the course now? Close to 3,000?
Yeah.
Close to 3,000 people we've had go through this course. Now, here's what we do in week 1. Week 1, we talk about the foundation. We teach you the foundation of the swing. That's week 1. It's where we go through the proper address position, proper tilt, proper arm position, hand position. We get you in the proper position at the address position. And then we teach you how to approach a golf ball and go into the proper address position so you can go on the golf course as well, right? Second week, we talk about positions. This is what we do in week 2. We start putting your body in the proper positions. The same positions I was teaching you. Position 1, position 2, stabilize, position 3. We start teaching you the exact positions of motion. So we train you in the positions in week 2. Week 3, we teach you the sequence of the swing. We teach you how to put the body in. We start blending those positions together, taking out position 1, going from 0 to 2, 2 to 4, right? We blend it like playing the piano. We start putting the notes together, putting the chords together. And then week 4, guess what? You get to add some speed to the motion because now you're swinging the club efficiently with the proper body motion and proper positions. One thing I'll mention to you before we go to the next slide. What happens when you do this correctly is you start planing the golf club, because if you start moving to position 1 correctly and then position 2, the club starts moving on plane, just like Mo. So keep in mind that the entire purpose of this, teaching you this in this order, in the correct way, in the correct positions, is to get the club moving correctly and get us to impact. Now, let me just walk you through what this course really is all about. We're getting the full swing training. You're getting a daily discovery. We have a process that gives you a daily discovery. We have weekly Zoom calls. This is a cohort. In other words, our coaches, we work with you during the course. We don't just throw the course at you. And I'm not a big fan of courses where you just have to do it all yourself. You do this yourself. You get the training modules every single day. And then the coaches are on with you, and you join the coaches, and you can ask them questions. They work with you every single week. We also make sure that you have enough support inside our Single Plane Academy, so when you're going through the course, you can ask questions to all the coaches. The course, that online portion of the course is $1,000 value. It's $1,000. By the way, that's what we call the progressive training part of this course, right? It's the progressive training. Now, there's a part of the program I put in there because of the way I've used this formula, what I call train with me. So during this week, you get to practice and train with me. I put the way I interpret this information so you can feel what I'm feeling throughout the practice. That's part of this course as well. You get that in that bundle as well, because a lot of people are asking me, Todd, how do you practice? Just like I did yesterday. So I put how I use this formula, exactly what I go through when I practice and train. So that's in the course too. And here's a really important part of the course is we give you what we call our level 3 MoeMentum. Now, what this is we give you the ability to send videos of your training when you're practicing to our coaches in the course. In other words, for the month that you're in this course, you can send videos to our coaches. That's a $1,000 value, by the way, to be able to work with our coaches directly. That means you, one-on-one, take a video of your swing. Let's say you're working on the backswing, position 1 to 2, and you send it to a coach and say, how am I doing? The coach gives you advice and tells you how it's going. So you get to work with our coaches as well. It's a $1,000 value. And then, of course, there may be parts of the course where you struggle with a position. You may have a flexibility issue. We have a part of the course which is our single plane freedom, the mobility routines that we give you that train in this course as well. This is 30 days of the most effective, efficient practice for the single plane swing and training that you can do so you can get this club moving perfectly in 30 days. And then I have one more section I put in here is my field drills. These to me are very important because as you go through position training, you get new feelings. I put my field drills in here too, which are special drills. It's a $197 value. And look, this entire course, entire package with everything I just mentioned is over $3,000 in value. So that's what the course, we do this every single month. We have a limited number of people we allow into the course. We start the first Monday of the month. Scott, what day is that for this month? 7th. September 7th. So we start the first Monday of the month. So September 7th is when this course starts. But here's the thing. I'm not going to charge you $3,000. Right? I'm not going to do that. Here's what you're going to pay for this course tonight. Not going to pay $3,000. You're not going to even pay $1,000. And you get to work with my coaches for $297. That's what we charge for all that 30 days of training and working with the coaches for 30 days is $297. And here's what I'm going to do for you tonight as part of this course. Not only am I going to give you 1 month to work with our coaches, I'm going to give you a second month. And here's why I'm doing this. Because what we have found was that when the coaches work with you through the program, you're in learning mode. And we're working with you throughout that month in the class. The second month, you're not in the class anymore. We're still letting you work with our coaches, still sending them videos and still working with them. And it's a great follow-up program for you to work with our coaches. We're going to give you a second month with our coaches. Again, another $1,000 value with our coaches right there. So I'm giving you so much value so you can not only go through the program and keep working with the coaches and get feedback. Here's the biggest thing about the course. If you don't love the training, if this isn't the most efficient way you've learned it, if you don't get the most out of the course, I will give you 100% of your money back if you don't love it. But here's the best thing about tonight. Oh, here's the starting dates. By the way, we've already had, and this kind of happens every single month, we already have a bunch of people who have already signed up for the course because they want to sign up for next month. So we got 79 spots open, so only 79 spots still available. It starts September 7th, and the first module is delivered at 12 o'clock in the morning. Is that correct? There you go. But here's what I'll do for you tonight. If you're interested in joining us for the next month, September 7th, and working on the month of September with me and the coaches, gravesgolf.com/enroll tonight only. I'll do this entire thing and the 2 months with our coaches for $197. That's the absolute best deal we've ever given on this entire course. So I'll scratch out the $297 and we'll do it for $100 less, $197. You get the entire single plane 30, 2 months with the coaches, all the extra things that go with the course for $197. Can't do better than that.
Question time.
All right. Let's go through it. So YouTube question from Mike Johnson. What does it mean to keep the club in front of you? And how can you tell whether you are doing it on the golf course? What are the checkpoints? Couple things about that. Number one is, I think these questions get asked to me a lot about how do you do things on the golf course? The golf course is the place that you go play and perform and use your skills. It's not a place you go learn. It's not a place that you go fix your swing, as you know. Nobody, not even the tour players I know, the best players in the world that I know, do not fix their swing on the golf course. So the question's a little bit loaded like that. But here, let's go through the first part of it. What does it mean to keep the club in front of you? It's a good question. Watch this. This is what we call a single plane trainer. But I'm going to demonstrate with this trainer to show you exactly what I taught you right here. If you look at you look at this, it's an alignment stick that lines up with my lead arm and it lines up with my trail arm, exactly what I showed you. Watch what happens when I take the club back into position 1. You'll notice that it stays against my side. It's staying against my side. That club is in front of my body. Now I'm going to go on plane. On plane means it's in front of my body. Because, well, how is it in front? When I come back down, it returns back to impact in front of my body. Okay, so that makes sense, right? It's always in front of my body. That makes it get impact. If I had a backswing where it was steep, that is behind my body. This is behind my body because I can't get it back to impact. So this single plane trainer helps us learn and feel the club being, look, see how this is what I call the club to body relationship. Mo called this orientation. You orient the club into these alignments, you take it back and return it right back to impact. That club's always in front of the body. Probably nobody better than Mo at keeping the club efficiently moving back to impact like that. Next question, explain how the lead hand gets to set position in the backswing. Does the shoulder rotate to get the wrist set position? Yes, the shoulder rotates, but the body rotates, right? So the biggest thing about the wrist being set is the trail arm folding. You experiment with something, and I did this the other day. I was working with a student. If I take you back into the backswing, and I was to run in during your backswing and just hold and stop your shoulders from moving, the absolute only way that if your shoulders aren't moving and your body's not moving, to get the club to move is to fold the arm, the trail arm. That moves the club. So anytime you see the wrist hinging up, the trail arm is also folding. You would never want to try to hinge your wrist without the trail arm bending. So the only way the wrists are going to set properly is when you fold the arm. Matter of fact, I don't even want you messing with the wrists. I don't want you even thinking about the wrists. All I want you to do is fold the arm. And this is called radial deviation, by the way. It's called radial deviation. I'll show you another little secret here. If you get the proper grip position in the model, you'll have a couple things. You'll have a perfectly planed club face, which means you can square it at impact. And not only that, the hand will go to what I call radial stop. In other words, max range of the wrists. So you don't have to worry about hinging the wrists. You fold the trail arm and it sets right into that leverage position perfectly. Look at that. So I can't go further than that. It's as far as I can go because of my proper hand position. We teach you this in single plane 30. Again, this stuff will make so much more sense when you're actually doing it in the positions that we teach in single plane 30. Does the toe of the driver have to point up at address? I think you're talking about the toe being off the ground a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. A little bit. And the reason is because there's downward deflection in the shaft slightly, yes. Yeah, this is a question here. Would you explain more about braking? I am a 72-year-old lefty, Anthony H. So thanks for asking that question because I need to cover this. In week 3, so I want you to look at my formula here for a second. In week 3, sequencing, we teach you in single plane 30 about what we call brakes. Teach you about brakes. Now, the braking system is an interesting thing because the body cannot produce motion if you don't have part of it staying still as another part moves. I'll give you an example. So when I'm at address and I want to make a backswing, there's 2 things that must stay stationary. One is my trail leg, because I'm going to rotate around it, and my head. Because now I can move around those 2 axis points, right? So the head and the trail leg. So I'm moving around those points. I wouldn't be able to rotate if my head and my leg was sliding. So I have to have something to rotate around, my head being still and my trail leg. It allows me to rotate. So these are what we call the brakes of the swing. My head has a brake on it, and my trail leg is a brake, and I'm able to make a rotation. Okay, very important because now when I have that part stopped, I can then move this part. Now in the downswing, I do the exact opposite. I move into the lead leg. Now it becomes a brake. It stops, right? Now it doesn't mean the hips stop because the leg is stopped. I can still turn my body, but the knee and the leg is stopped. So I'm limiting. So I stop the lead hip. I'm in a side bend, and watch this. I'm going to rotate, but because I'm side bent in the proper position, I'm telling you guys, it's all about positions. the position of the leg and the position of my tilt. And now when I turn, I'm limited again. So there's a braking system here. Look at the trail foot. It's stopping me. So I'm moving and stopping in the same thing because I can't move. I can only move so far. It's called limitations. I'm rotating. My upper body is now, I can't move very far. And guess what? I can rip the hands through there because I cannot accelerate the arms and hands if I don't have this part of the body stable. So the braking system is where part of the body is staying still as the other part moves. And this is what we teach. We cannot teach you the sequence. There's no way I can teach you the sequence if I don't teach you the brakes. However, don't forget this, the brakes are produced from the positions you're in. So what you saw me do there was because I'm in a side bend and my leg is in a stable position and the foot's on the ground, that position creates brakes. If I lift the foot, I don't have brakes. If I straighten my leg, I don't have brakes, right? Not like I want them. So again, you have to master positions. You can't get here if you don't get that. By the way, the enrollment link is on the screen, gravesgolf.com/enroll. Remember, it's $197 only if you sign up tonight. You won't see this tomorrow, it'll be $297. Giveaway winner for level 3 MoeMentum. So our level 3 MoeMentum, which you guys are getting 2 months access of, which is a $1,000 value. We have a free it's for a free year for this Joe Crochier from Landrum, South Carolina. Joe, congratulations. You've won a year's worth of coaching from our level 3 coaches. gravesgolf.com/enroll. Tonight only, $197. Thanks to the team.
You're getting a bunch of orders. Good deal. Good deal. All right, let's go back quick.
How many do we have left?
Ooh, are we running out of space? We might by midnight if it keeps going at this pace.
So, okay. Question. Mo said his right arm hand was along for the ride. Good question. How does it go? When does the right arm add speed? Great, from Greg. So watch. That's a really good question, and this is one of the questions I covered a lot in my instruction because when people ask me, this is very similar to the question when say, Todd, is the golf swing left-sided or right-sided? You know, is it lead-sided or trail-sided? And the question, it's actually both-sided. So let me answer it from this perspective. So when you take a backswing, you want this trail arm soft, relaxed, and along for the ride because what you're doing is you're bracing against this trail leg and this arm folds up. So it's relaxed. Then, and Mo felt this, right? So then you're going to stabilize and you're going to turn. Now, when I start turning my body, my turn of my body is pulling my arms, right? It's pulling my lead shoulder, my arms. So I'm getting a pull. Now, I'm not moving the arms. I always tell people it's not that you're moving your arms, you're actually moving the body and the body is moving the arms, right? Now, you get to about right here. Remember where I said that your body is now limited? Once your body gets to what we call position 3 limited, this is where you release the right arm. So that's where you see the arm go from being along for the ride to skip a rock. So it's right about here in this position 3. It's a great question because that's what you see happening. It's along for the ride in the backswing. It's along for the ride in the downswing until the body gets to a position where the only thing left to move is the hands. That's why you see the speed. If you look at a golf swing, most of the speed is being produced from right here to right there. That's where most of the speed of a golf swing is always produced. That's because the body is in that stable position. It's very limited, and the only thing left are the arms and the shoulders to move. So great question. Thanks for that. Oh, got another giveaway.
Big winner.
3-day school winner. 3-day premier school. These are where we teach you for 3 straight days with all the coaches. Roger Dennington from Canton, Georgia. Congratulations, Roger, on a 3-day premier school. When does head movement start? Right after impact? Actually, it's after position 5. So when you get to impact, and then position 5 is when you get that trail arm is fully extended, then here the head will move. So it's after position 5 you want to see the head move. How do you gauge your tilt or dress? is there too much tilt? Bill, what we do is the coaches use a lot of video to monitor it, but I'll give you a quick suggestion here. We have, our coaches have been doing this for a long time. When you send us a video of your swing, when you're in level 3 or in our coaching program, and if you're not, guys, listen, even if you don't sign up for single plane 30, you should get in our coaching program. Because if you want us to help you learn what the swing is all about and get it right, because I hate for you to go out there and not get it right, work with our coaches. But what we look for, if you're looking down the line, so you see that camera looking straight down the line at me, when you're looking down the line, you notice that my club is in a single plane, but notice there's no space between my arms. So I'm in side bend, and there's no space between my arms from a down the line view. If I had too much side bend, too much, then you would see space between my arms. So again, what you feel you do and when you learn this, you got to learn it correctly. And the way you learn it correctly is you monitor these checkpoints. And the coaches, that's why we give the coaches to you for a month and now 2 months. We give these coaches to you, so utilize them. They're checking this stuff for you. Because we want you to feel it, not only do it correctly, but feel it correctly as well. Next question, using your system, do shaft lengths or club lies historically need to be adjusted? Ken, it's a good question. We custom fit clubs to your body size. Everybody in this room and everybody on that chat is different sizes. So we fit clubs based on the geometry of a single plane to your body size. Look, I have guys in the NBA that I teach. A couple of them are 6'7", 6'8". They certainly can't hit my clubs. So we have to fit everybody to you remember how the club lines up through the middle of the back at impact? We got to make sure that length works for your equipment, so we have to custom fit you. Now, does that mean your clubs have to be adjusted? They probably do, but you know, I don't know how you had your clubs fit. We use a reverse engineering process, which makes 100% sense. If you want clubs fit from us, we're going to build clubs that are based on your body size that fit you to a single plane. What we don't do is we don't basically try to have you fit clubs that aren't right for the single plane. So in other words, right now, if you went down to your local shop and said, hey, give me some clubs, if you're not swinging on a single plane, you're not getting clubs that are fit for your single plane. We build clubs that'll fit you perfectly, so you grow into those clubs with a perfect swing. That makes sense. We reverse engineer that. Back to the link here, gravesgolf.com. How many spots we got left, you guys?
If it keeps going at this pace, we'll sell out by midnight.
We're out by midnight. So guys, you're on right now. How many people are still on?
About 300.
300 people. We're going to be sold out. This price will not be available after midnight tonight. So if you guys want to save the $100 and have 2 months access to the coaches, which we've never done before, you better get in there right now because we'll be out. We'll be out of spots.
2 months is a big deal.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
I'll say this too. On the SP30, they still have access to it, so they can still work through it.
Yeah. So you're going to have 2 months of single plane 30. You'll have single plane 30 with the cohort and the coaches for 2 months, and you'll still have access to the training inside the class. After taking SP30 course, is it necessary to come to a school and a custom club fitting? Jim asks. Jim, we always love to have you at schools. What we have found, and when I work with students and they come to the schools, the most successful students that we have here have all been through single plane 30. And I will say this should not be the only time you take single plane 30. This is the basic training course. So I recommend coming to a school. I recommend doing single plane 30 multiple times a year because it's basic training. It's like working out. It's like fitness. You can't just do it once. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the stronger you get. So yes, you should come to a school and you should continue to take single plane 30 throughout the year. How do you stay in tilt? How do you stay in tilt position? The tilt, look, from Tommy. Tommy, I'm in tilt, right? Keep my head still and keep my leg in position. I'm in tilt, okay? I stabilize my leg. Keep my head still and I go to impact. I'm in tilt. You got to keep your head still and you got to have your lower body positioned correctly, and the tilt, you'll be in tilt. See, what people do is they don't stay stable. They don't stabilize. They haven't learned the braking system. They move their head and they come out of tilt. It's all about positions. All right. This is the final question?
What do you got here? No, we got a couple more.
Okay. In position 2, is your weight mostly on your left or right foot. Right foot. So 75% of my weight, 75% of the pressure is on my right foot right now. 75%. And then impact, 75% on my left. How does the right hand on the grip prevent the lead wrist from cupping? Where? Can backswing? Backswing. How does the right hand position on the grip prevent the lead arm wrist from cupping? Well, it's not about preventing it, it's about just doing it correctly. If your lead hand wrist is cupping, it's probably a lead hand problem. Because if I have my hand correctly on the club, and then I move my arm correctly, this wrist goes into a nice radial position, doesn't cup. If my hand is incorrectly on the club, it's probably this hand in the thumb position. One thing I recommend is the thumb position, correct the lead hand, because it allows this hand to go correctly. So I would be checking the lead hand position, not necessarily a trail hand position, but I've got to fix them both, right?
All right, this last question then.
Yeah, I have to wear a back support, Moeller, I guess it's a brand, because of arthritis in my back. Will this affect my single plane swing? I don't know. I mean, if it creates limitations, it might. If you wear back support, sometimes back supports are actually pretty good. The question I would have for you, even though you're wearing a back support, can you rotate, right? Can you rotate around your trail leg, and can you rotate around your lead leg? Here's the thing. Single plane 30 is a perfect test for you, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't have you swing yet. We have you hit positions, so you should put that back brace on and see if you can hit the positions. It's a great way. And if you don't love it, I'll give you your money back. It's as simple as that. Gravesoft.com/enroll. You got to enroll by midnight if you want the special price tonight, because those spots will be sold out, might not be sold out in the next 30 minutes. I don't know. But gravesgolf.com/enroll. Thanks for joining me again, and I will see you in single plane 30 for September.